So looks like we got a military draft going on, possibly. The House of Representatives passed a resolution Friday that automatically enrolls young men for selective service and expands the mandatory draft ages by 1 year to men aged 18 and 26. Young men are already required to register for selective service if they are between the ages of 18 and 25, but the new resolution would enroll them automatically. Although the draft has not been used in half a century, it's considered a felony if an eligible man fails to register, according to Fox News at least. Now, this resolution was included in the National Defense Authorization Act. Look, I'm somebody who don't really get political too much on this channel, but I feel like this is more of a human rights violation in a sense, because to me, you cannot force these kids, today's kids, to register to be part of the selective service. I think that is a violation of the freedom of choice, because if that amendment says you have the right to choose what you want to do, I feel like selective service and the draft should be one of them. Because I hate to be the guy to say this, but if you try to force these kids to not only register and to be a part of a draft and get drafted into a war that they didn't want to be in, things can go very, very badly, because these new age kids ain't taking no shit. Either one of the two things will happen. You're going to have riots in the streets. You're going to have kids literally burning down cities just to tell the government we're not going to war. We will burn cities down to tell y'all we're not going to war. Or a worst case scenario that could play out could be where you have these kids who do get drafted, go to war, and they'll do something heinous and crazy just to get themselves deported and thrown in the slammer. Like, could you imagine the government trying to draft somebody like Casanat, for example, somebody who is in that age group? He would not go for this shit. Now, if he wants to do it and he ain't got no problem doing it, and that's fine, he's free to do so. But I think something like this should be a choice. A choice. Somebody like every American should have the right to choose. Do they want to opt in to the selective service? If they want to opt in to registration, they shouldn't be forced. They shouldn't be hog-tied and demanded that they do so. Why should these young kids give up their amendment right of freedom of choice to serve in a war that they probably don't care about? They probably care about more things that go on in the US than outside of it. But I guess in the good old name of democracy, we got to break a few rules here and there just to get there. Like, it's very hypocritical how anybody could say, oh, the United States is the land of the free, home of the brave, and you have songs like the Star Spangled Banner and other songs of that magnitude that sing the glories of the United States, but then you try to bend the rules just to force kids to fight in a war. Like, to me, that sounds very un-American. That sounds like some type of dictatorship or communist rule. Like, let everything be natural. Let everything be organic. Just look at what happened after the events that followed with Pearl Harbor. A lot of young men for that time period got angry at what happened and made the United States and its people want to go overseas and fight this war because they were so enraged that they did that. And even when you look at a post 9/11, you had young Americans at that time wanting to serve because of that deadly terrorist attack. If you do something like that where these kids could choose, now, God forbid if something like that was to happen again, where this country gets attacked to make people want to fight and go to war, then I think it should just let it be a choice. Do these kids want to serve? Because just look at how things are now, where it's a choice if kids want to sign up for the Army or the Navy or the National Guard or so on and so forth. It's a choice. They're not forced into that. Now, I'm hoping this is one of the things that's not true and will never happen. It will never go into effect. It will never be signed into law, because again, I do think this is a violation of human rights to a degree. When you force people to go to a war that they don't really care about, you're going to get a horrible outcome. And people could try to bring up the whole Red Dawn movie and be like, oh, well, what if that ends up happening? We get invaded, then what? Like, something like that. I'm pretty sure the government has a plan in place to prevent that type of invasion from happening. And let's just say, for the sake of conversation, if it did happen, it would make the United States look like Boo Boo the Fool, because we've had so many invasion movies to come out since God knows when, or movies that involved not just movies but games as well, that involved the United States being not only invaded but occupied by a tyrannical force. And I'm pretty sure they have something in place to prevent something like that from happening. But again, Boo Boo the Fool. But with that being said, y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Till next time, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.